Well, hello. This is the Watch Dude, and this morning I have a new Timex that I just received, and I was going to do a quick opening and give all you folks a chance to take a look at this new Timex Harborside Coast 43mm with a leather strap. Now, of course, it is a Quartz watch, and so you folks know I'm familiar with different kinds of watches, and you can see here there are some other watches that I own, and some of those are what are called automatics, and they're mechanical watches, and they're relatively vintage, if you will. At least in this case, this is a Zodiac Seawolf, and it's been restored by Mr. Ron Gordon in New York City, where he has a watch shop, and it's very interesting to read about Mr. Gordon and his background. And actually, my understanding is that he acquired many of the vintage parts from Zodiac before or when the actual Zodiac shop closed up their production. And anyway, you can see that he's just done a great job on this piece, and I enjoy wearing this, but it is a mechanical watch, and in a few minutes I'll talk about that just a little bit. And I just wanted you to know that I have several mechanical watches, and this is actually a watch. This is a Waltham watch, about 1970, and this one has also been restored, and it's a beautiful watch, and it's one that I also enjoy wearing, but it too is a mechanical watch. And of course, I think everyone knows the Rolex, and this is a Luminox, and this is a Quartz watch, and I enjoy wearing that watch because if you know anything about those particular watches, they have actually some radioactive elements that stay lit at night, and it's very visible. But let me go ahead and readjust the camera, and we'll do the unboxing on the new Timex Harborside. Alright, as I explained and gave you guys a quick view, I enjoy mechanical watches, but there's one thing about the mechanical watches, and that is, and those of you that are familiar know, if you set them aside for a few days or even longer, and you decide to change the watch that you choose to wear, then unless you have them in a watch tender, and I've had some positive and some negative experiences with those. But anyway, if you set them aside and then of course choose to put them back on, then as you know, what you have to do is you have to go through the resetting. Some of them are easier to reset than others, but it just, after a while, I just enjoy Quartz watches because you really don't need to do any of that. And of course, I understand and appreciate the value and the artistry, if you will, of mechanical watches. But like I said, I enjoy my Quartz watches too, and of course, expense-wise, they're not nearly in the same expense area of mechanical watches. Now there are some very expensive Quartz watches, and but generally Quartz watches are just a whole lot cheaper, and in my opinion offer some great value. So as we talked about, the Casio Duro is just really hard to beat for the cost and for the features. Of course, it has a calendar function. It's 200 meters, water resistant, and it's a pretty watch. And this is of course the black and gold. And interestingly, there are mods that can be done to the Casio Duro that you might choose to look at on some different YouTube stations or channels. Anyway, let's go ahead and get right to the opening here. This is the Timex Harborside Coast. Just so you know, I placed this order on October 27th, and I received it on November the 2nd directly from Timex on the Timex website. So let's just go ahead and I know that a lot of folks do a lot of these unboxing videos, and that's fine, but for me, I kind of like to go ahead and get right to it and get the thing opened up and take a look at it. Alright, well, so of course this is the paperwork associated with the watch. I already know what that says. Not much to the packing, and as you can see here, the watch, well, it's pretty plain, and that's okay. Now, I did see that someone had made a comment about this particular watch, and that it was made in China, but I just wanted to show you that on the box that I received, it says the Philippines movement and India bracelet, and it was assembled in the Philippines. So anyway, I just thought I'd share that with you. I don't see China on here anywhere. Although I'll just tell you, the Chinese, they make some beautiful watches. And I'm glad to see that Timex has making some pretty watches too now. All right, again, the box is just pretty simple. Just a regular box. And of course, there's some information on the inside there. All right. And some simple packing. Well, this look, there's some kind of tag. Okay, well, this is the tag for the watch, I guess. All right, well, there we go. Well, there it is. There it is. The new Timex. Okay. Wow. Well, you can clearly see that there's some, looks like influences by some maybe more famous styles. But I like the color of this one, black and gold. Of course, the Duro that I'm wearing is gold and silver, two-tone. And I enjoy that because my wedding band is gold. And so, you know, I know that they say in all the fashion literature that for men that it doesn't matter if the watch and the ring don't match. But I remember in the old days it was considered very classy if the ring and the watch color matched. And so when you get a two-tone, if you got a gold ring, you're good. If you got a silver ring, you're good. And in this one, you're really looking, in my opinion, at gold. All right, so there's the information there on the bottom. And then here's the watch. I hope that you can see it. I can't really see the camera, so I don't know how that's working out there for y'all. But I'll go ahead now and just take this off the little cushion that it's on, and we'll put that over there and just take a look at it. Well, I like the way it looks. I understand that it's a homage or homage to the Rolex Submariner. In fact, I know the minute hand is in the way, but the hour hand is actually in the same shape, a Mercedes, and the markers are in the similar shape, and it looks pretty good to me. I like it. I like it. I like the Quartz watches because I can just put them on and I can go. I don't have to necessarily worry about setting or changing anything because the battery, of course, keeps the watch in the correct time and the date, and there may be a date adjustment, but that's pretty much it. The only thing you have to do is change change the battery once in a while, and that's no big deal. So anyway, let's go ahead and let's see, I got a little tag there, and pull that off, and let's see if we can, there it goes, just push in the crown and ticking away. You can see again on the second hand there's the same marker. Now there is a Cyclops magnifier here. Timex says this case width is 43 millimeters. The case itself is actually low lead brass. And then I did see someone had asked on another Harborside video or on the Timex website if in fact there were any stainless steel versions of this watch, and there are, but I wanted the gold color because of, as I've already said, the gold wedding ring. The band is black leather, and I like that. That looks pretty good. You can see that on the buckle, Timex is stamped there. You can see on the back that it's not a clear back, but you can see that Timex has some information there. Looks pretty good. And you can actually see on the crown Timex, the mark there indicating Timex. The Cyclops is raised, but I'll just tell you that looks in my opinion very nice. So let's see if we can turn the dial. Now I've heard some folks that have criticized this dial in that it's not easy to grip, and that wasn't too bad. And of course I have these cotton gloves on, but just looking at the markers and the lineup of the bezel, that's usually an area that unless it's a very expensive watch, that's usually an area that needs some improvement. This one lines up, looks to me, pretty close. Pretty close. Now it's not perfect. I don't know if you can see that. The triangle marker is a little bit maybe to the left, but not much. Now I'm watching the second hand tick around at the different markers, and it's also off just a little bit, but that's very common. The same thing happens on my Casio. This watch cost $100, and as I said before, it is of course quartz. This one is water resistant to 100 meters, and so that is in my opinion very, very decent for a quartz watch that you can just put on and maybe shower in. I don't think I would use this watch for for any kind of diving necessarily, but it'd probably be okay for a pool or something like that, swimming with. In any case, the finish is brushed and polished. You can see the polish on the edges, and you can see the brush on the lugs here. The markers appear to me to be luminated. Now there was a criticism I saw from one person who said that his markers were not illuminated. They look to be illuminated to me. In a few minutes I'll put some light on it, and then I'll see if I can get the camera to show if all the markers are illuminated in the dark. In my opinion, it's a beautiful watch, especially considering the cost. Now, I'll just tell you, many of you know that there are a lot of replica Rolex watches made. Some of them, the super reps, are very expensive, in my opinion, $700 or more even. And many of them, though they're very difficult in many cases to distinguish between the actual Rolex and the replica Rolex, many of those replicas, even the quote high-end replicas, have the same issue with the second hand, the minute hand, and the hour hand, and aligning up with the markers perfectly. But I'll just say, from what I've seen, this is not bad. The lineup there is not bad at all. All right, so what I do, because these are, I'm not going to say replicas of dive watches, but are theoretically based on the design of dive watches. Well, like the Sea Wolf that I showed earlier in the video. Although notice the size difference. Very, 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 very different. But in any case, I normally change the band, particularly because this is a leather band, and should I choose to get it wet and all those kind of things, I don't know that I really want the leather on there. I prefer the more classic dive watch rubber or silicone or even PVC strap. So I looked online and I found this one that I'll put on this watch. The gloves make it hard. And you can see that this is more of a classic type band. It's very similar, although it's not as wide, and that's because the lug width here is not as wide as on the Casio. But this band is actually a band that I like. And it's was one that I found on Amazon, and it's relatively cheap, and I want to say maybe $15 or so, and it's Huarpe quality black buckle band on Amazon, and I think it should work out pretty good. So I mentioned to you that I would show the lume on the watch, on the hands and the markers. So I applied some light, and I just wanted you to know that on my watch, on this watch, the hands and the markers all are illuminated. And I just wanted to point that out because there's one review out there that said that theirs wasn't. Who knows, maybe the factory missed it, but that's not the case on this watch. Well, as I said, I changed the watch strap to a silicone strap that I already mentioned that I got on Amazon, and I think it looks really good. The watch, in my opinion, is really nice, and I like it. I wanted to point out that the crystal is mineral. It's not sapphire. And that the crown is not a screw down crown. So I might rethink my earlier suggestion that it could be used for swimming, although I'll say this, that my Luminox crown is not a screw down crown, and I've had it in the water swimming plenty of times and had no trouble. And Timex advertises this as 100 meters water resistant, so it might in fact be okay. And then finally, I wanted to point out the lume on this watch is green, and I really like the green color, and I just think the watch is really a nice piece done by Timex. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this quick video about this new watch, and I know you can tell from some of the quality of the video that I'm not a professional YouTuber, but I just kind of wanted to get this out there so that you folks would have a chance to take a look at this new offering from Timex. Thanks for watching The Watch Dude 2. Please give me a thumbs up, or I'd certainly be interested in all your comments and thoughts. Thanks.